I had a great time in Germany. Thank you very much.
So thank you very much for such a amazing e-learning. I never heard this word before, just today. And now you know already what e-learning is and also the smart classroom as well. Could you please just prepare the questions to ask during panel discussion soon? We're gonna set up the seat on the stage after this. We got about 10 or 15 minutes to ask your question. Could you please just raise your hand, and then we got some students to give you microphone to ask.
Yes. Sorry, just two little practical remarks before we start with the panel discussion. The first is please fill out the evaluation forms you have in your forum materials so that we can collect them at the registration table and know about how you like this event and what we can improve for the next year. And the second practical remark is that those of you who didn't come here with their own car, please also convene at the registration table. Because we have a shuttle service to the restaurant. So please gather there, and then we can take care of your transfer to the restaurant. So evaluation sheets and shuttle bus for the restaurant. Thank you very much.
All right, could you please just raise your hand for your questions? Don't be shy, we got only 10 or 15 minutes to ask about smart classroom, right? And then we got e-learning as well.
Yes, please. Yes. Moment.
Have you got some microphone left?
Yes.
Tatsawan from Assumption University. So I would like to have a question for Dr. Pongsak. You mentioned something like we use Facebook for about 20 million people in Thailand, but I also heard that the 20 million is about more than 80% is in Bangkok. So it's some kind like the technology is still in the cities, and you mentioned about the smart agriculture, but of course that agriculture is not in the city. So I just curious that it looks like that we just make everything in the city. So how can we spread or give an opportunity to the rural people, or how can we? It looks like that we left behind the farmers and the cattle and also the non-technology people.
Okay.
Thank you.
I would say that don't underestimate the new farmers. Now, right now, I'm also in the research, working in the rubber industry fields. Can you believe that, the Palawood farmer, I say, connected with the Facebooks. If you search, even, search in Thai keywords, say, เกษตรกร in Thai, and you see a lot of Facebook. And if they are not, they are very active group also. So right now, the number I give is in year 2012. Now in 2014, many households have their own ADSL as a modem, right? It's an internet connection. In the rural area, they are using, they call the point-to-point Wi-Fi. Now I have my home in really in a farm also. They have setting up a tower, like from the TOT company. They broadcast all the Wi-Fi signal, and it can go up to 20 kilometers. It's a Wi-Fi. Robert said about WiMAX, right? We have been testing the WiMAX in Chiang Mai. I've been there too. I was one of the committee also to check all the signal integrity and the bandwidth. It's better than Wi-Fi, but the important is the cost. It's really expensive. You're talking about a mobile WiMAX platform, carry in your pocket. That's impossible. The size of the connecting device is about the size of the rice cooker. I say that. It's really huge. So in the rural area right now, they mostly use a Wi-Fi as the connection. And the Facebook right now is not just in the city anymore. It's become, you met a lot of old farmer using a Facebook. And it's not difficult for them. I don't know how they learn it, but because of the surrounding people, they use Facebook, my friend use Facebook, I need to learn to use Facebook also. It's a social pressure to use a Facebook to connect it to each people also in Thailand. So smart agriculture is not too difficult for the farmer, I believe that.
Maybe
Does that answer your question? Okay.
Yes. You said on 2020, the internet Wi-Fi should be very known in Thailand. This is who estimate this year, the government or the trend of the internet surfing?
The government by the Ministry of Information, Communication and Information and Communication Technologies, Ministry of ICT.
Then it should be success on 2020.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah, because right now we are laying all the fiber optics. Like I said, there are more than 10,000 schools are connected internet already. The next step is you change from the landline connection to the Wi-Fi or wireless connection. So that means in year 2020 is not too difficult for the government to implement that. No problem. I believe that.
So very good news for Thai people.
And I think you said that 2020 we're gonna get like smart university integration, right? Is that true? Gonna be next 5 years. So let's see.
Yes.
Any more questions?
My name is Dr. Yung Yut. I'm myself a psychiatrist working in mental health area. My question actually I would like to hear from three of you about, in Thailand, I think Thai student, Thai pupil, they use IT technology mainly for social and entertaining. My question is that what do you, from your experience, what can help pupil and student move into IT use for learning?
So shall we start with Mr. Bayan, please?
Yeah, because your topic is learning, right?
I
It's
think
okay?
you have to get the teacher excited about using it in the classroom. It's you can push a technique onto a teacher, like the tablet thing in the Thai government, where everybody's got a tablet and the teachers are like, what do we do with it? So I think you have to really get the teachers really excited about using a technology before it takes. And then I think with M-learning, most of the projects are really small. Most of them are experimental, and it's mainly to publish for your research. Once they're done, they don't follow up. They don't try to expand it out. So I think maybe a lot of the different institutes that do education should really kind of encourage their PhD candidates to maybe implement it and put it into place and put it into practice, and not just do it as a way to get your paper, where they can actually go and pursue it 5 or 6 or 7 years. Because we have a lot of good ideals in Thailand, and then they die because the research is over, and you got to do something new to get published.
Yes. And Professor Aswin, please.
สวัสดีครับคุณหมอยงยุทธ Well, I agree with you that most of the Thai students, Thai kids use new technology for entertainment. But to my answer to that is that it's today's environment that's already happening. So what we should do is learn to use, and also kind of using the social characteristic of the media. I mean, the students cannot just use the device alone, because, as I said, we are heavily entered the social media stage already. So that means any students are connected with peers and friends. So what teachers should do is identifying, the peer groups, and perhaps the one that could be like a chaperone, or have some significant roles that they could gear the friends towards learning. I think that's one of the ways to try to make them use it into a learning experience and constructively.
Okay, please.
Okay. In the past, the center of the classroom is at the teacher, right? So whatever teacher give it to students have to believe that. But with it today, like social media, right? Just Brian said in his slides that we choose what students use. That means the classroom now is at the center. The center of the classroom now is at the student. Why don't we change the way we teach? We use a social media to engage the student in the classroom. For example, show their performance, on the Facebook. Just like you playing the game on the Facebook, you have achieved something in the game, you post in the Facebook. Why don't we do the same thing for the learning? Oh, I have made a top score in this quiz. Let's post this into my Facebook. So my friend can, comment on that, give me some likes, I become the center of the classroom, something like that. So we have to change the way of that we teach, right? The way that the traditional classroom should be something, to be the center at the student. That's what my idea.
Okay, so thank you. And maybe for this
Could you please
corner, please?
some microphone over there?
Yes.
I'm Kanya from KMUTNB, King Mongkut Institute of Technology, Lakabang. I would like to share my opinion, especially in my classroom. I teach about beef cattle and buffalo production. So my student, all of my students have multimedia or this one iPhone or so on. So and they chat together during during our teaching. So I share my teaching method. So I divide them into so many groups to search what breed of the cattle in Germany, in Europe, in Italy, so on, and they talk together and discuss together. I think we should change our teaching method. Yeah, so it's that.
Okay, thank you. And so maybe this guy, please. The guy who sit behind the room, please. Yes, this guy.
Okay, my name is Tamrak Nasam. I'm the alumni of the IT school of the KMUTNB. And okay, I would like to just share my opinion, not really a question here. Because I'm currently registering the course on the Coursera, which is like the MOOC platform. And whatever that's taking place on there, what I like a lot is about like a lot of many students sharing contribute something there. And we learn something from the different people. Which is really work, like it's very practical for us because I registered the data science course, which is we have to do the programming, and people have come up with their different algorithm, different of thinking, different procedures. So we learn from others, like compare between our algorithms. So I think the online platform helps on that part. And the thing is about, for me, that I'm gonna talk about the student perspective because I used to be in the traditional classroom and also like this one, the MOOC platform. So I think what is shorted about the Thai students is like, they don't have a passion for what they learn. I mean, if you don't have that one first, I mean, even you transfer to other platform or wherever, I mean, you cannot really get into the essence of it. I mean, at first, students should have the passion or the fire or the eager, whatever they like. What is that they can do all there or wherever they can live like for their life. I think it is the key part, the crux of their study. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
There are more questions?
I
This
disagree with a little bit. I think Thai students are extremely passionate. I think sometimes they kind of have to keep it inside, or sometimes they're doing a major that's maybe not fit their background, or it's not seemly to kind of talk out some. But I got some students that are just very creative, but sometimes they're stuck in a track that they don't allow it to express that much. But what you said is quite good.
It's dry and not really like moisture with the like carrying it after that they're just doing something like the activity after the class or like set up the group or it's like I think like the foreigner student they set up the group like the group study after that they do the community the activities or wherever that is like to extend wherever that inside the classroom.
There's not the competitiveness that there is in
the
West. Because when you go to the top schools, you're the best of the best. And if you're not number one, nobody talks to you. You don't care.
Yeah.
You got to be number one. You don't have that same drive here, which in some ways is quite good because the cooperation and the amount of working together is much better than it is in the West. At the same time, it is kind of miss the competitive spirit that you kind of see in the West. Maybe some.
No, maybe you should watch the TED Talk, like the Why School the creativity. This is a good one. TED Talk. I mean, there is one talk is about like why school kill creativity. It's a good one, but okay.
You make very good comments.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Could you please come down here?
I'm also a lecturer, and I also love using the technologies in my classroom. I use AR, I use a learning management system, but I'm facing some kind of problems, and it's like I have a problem with the students' diversity. So they have different abilities to use technologies, they have difference in money, how to buy the smartphones. So it's going to be like a workload for me too, because they are different in one class, and we don't teach only 2 or 3 students, we teach like 50. And because of that, so my problem is I have to deal with the diversity, and I also have to deal with the workload. That it's going to be my load, not only to teach them in the content of the lectures, but it's going to be a workload to teach them about technologies, and I do not know how to deal with that.
It's not
like
easy,
the
right?
representative of all teachers in Thailand.
Start with using Line. The easiest.
On my comments, yes, in my class also, not all students have the mobile device, smart device. So the platform that I'm thinking is not based only on the learning or learning on the mobile device. We're talking about the smart box, but I forgot to mention in my slides. Smart box is like a set-top box, but it's not just for the digital broadcasting. It's about the program. You can actually put Android in that set-top box and use that to interact with the student in the classroom and also into the back-end system. So that in that way, that means students can actually learn if they have a set-top box, and set-top box is now not so expensive, 1,000 baht, 2,000 baht. You can have that at home and at the school. So for Thailand, I think learning on smart mobile device is still a little bit, maybe 5 years, but for the set-top box that we have, we already have the internet. But the problem is the device that we don't actually have all of that, in that area. So that's why maybe in my view, I'm looking at the smart box, not the smart device.
So my problem is going to be a new problem, that my students willing to pay for the
That's true.
Yes.
Okay.
Also, in your presentation, you talk about a Google Classroom. I think it can help students somehow that give the example how you can teach or how can you provide the facility for the internet.
Yes, talking about the workload that teacher will have, right? That means we have to have some kind of technology platform, to help us. My experience using the Google Classroom, the teacher doesn't have to do any management of the learning. Just the teacher provide the materials to the system, and so then we create connectivities to all the students automatically. So that means with this platform, actually the workload of the teacher is less. And if the students are familiar with this kind of tools, really common tools, really simple and easy to learn, they don't have to learn from the teacher, but they have to spend more time. At the beginning, maybe they don't like to use it, but you have to somehow force them to start with this, and then after that, it will be smooth, not too difficult for them. Thank you.
I recommend put them in groups. Randomly, if you don't do it randomly, the smart groups over here, the dumb ones over here, so they don't learn anything from each other. Randomly mix them up, give them extremely difficult tasks, and say, you do it. It's not my job to tell you how to do it. And you'll be surprised at how many of them, they get together because they don't know, so they have to talk really closely together and interact. Each term, I make my students do a YouTube video. All I want them to do is just upload. All I want them to do is just to upload the video, that technology. They edit it. They put special effects in it. They put sound effects. They got bombs going. I never tell them to do this. They put that pressure on themselves, and they learn by themselves. And it makes me look good, but I didn't teach them anything.
So, as you know, KMUTNB already launched the Google Classroom project. And I think, I'm not sure, this another university already launched this project? Okay, because he is the head person who launched this project. And I think it should be really helpful for the person.
For the university that register for the so-called Google Education, the Google app for education, they are all ready to use a Google Classroom. So I don't know, maybe university, KMUTL already launched that. A lot of university already, ABAC already launched it, I think. Yeah. So you can just go to the website and try to register, and you will find that how easy to use, and it's really easy. That.
Yes. Okay. Thank you.
I am Thirathon Saniying from TGDE KMUTNB. As Dr. Aswin mentioned about, give us example of Neo Kai phenomena. So I would like to ask the question in a mass media point of view, that is there any theory or philosophy that can explain a kind of thing like this that went viral very fast? And do you have any suggestion or any comment that we can adapt this kind of viral phenomena in learning platform or in e-learning platform, in something like that?
Okay, thank you. Well, that's true. You mentioned the word virality. In marketing, it's called viral marketing. And it becomes a new technique that somehow becomes more important than using the traditional mass media campaigns. So the technology is there. For the social environment itself, we have to accept that work and play becomes blurred. It's like I said in my presentation, that real and virtual, becomes a gray area. So in a sense, my answer to that is anything that goes on with the big media communication is always to do with how we feel, emotions, because it sells. So we could not escape what we call edutainment part. I think maybe that's the fact of 21st century as well. So as educator, maybe we have to find a balance between work and play and serious and playfulness, things like that. But for the professionals, it's good to advise and be like referee to all the controversials, because we cannot prevent, human, just anybody can access technology, and they become citizen journalists. They could put up anything online. So as professions, as teachers, as journalists, we still have credibility, we still have body of knowledge to suggest to the public which is more preferable in our society. And perhaps we need to distinguish between reasons and emotions.
Thank you very much.
So, please.
Just last question, I think.
Yes. This guy, please.
Thank you. I think I almost lost my last opportunity here. My name is Parawat Nakaviro. Basically, I'm from King Mongkut Institute of Technology, Lat Krabang. I'd like to share with the panelists that also at KMUTNB we are working on, the concept of, we call the flipped classroom. Okay, we're trying to centralize the learning process to the students. What I want to share with all the panelists as well as our audience here is that personally, as an electrical engineering lecturer, I think students are also looking for passion. When we talk about the new concept, right? Students may try to ask how this concept will be implemented in the real life, and that may give some examples on the necessity of the new communication and new media, right? What to my experience is that everybody realize, all lecturers may realize the need for the new media or the new ways of teaching. But as a lecturer, we are full of, our other workloads, and, can you share with us, what sort of helps, or, how would the strategy would be to move the education system toward the new learning schemes? How would university would assist, the lecturer to develop the new classrooms? Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. From your speaking, I can say you are a really good teacher because you are really care of your student, right? My comment is, don't worry about the student. You don't have to say that, oh, maybe they don't understand my lecture, they don't understand my notes. Because it's this technology, right? They can find some other source of information. Your job is not don't have to worry about them, and your job is not having to worry about what they will learn. But your job is to initiate their learning. It's not telling them what to learn, but initiate them. You have just like you start saying that, okay, if you want to learn this new theory or this new model, I give you some example and you find the rest. And so you have to give them every step. It's not just like because they are new generation. That's why I say you are a really good teacher because you are care about the student. But my comment is, don't worry about them. I have a small classroom also, about 15 students. I'm teaching in the programming, and they are the second year student. I don't give them anything. I give them nothing. I have no lecture notes. I just have a classroom and like a meeting room. And I say, the first class, you bring me your notebooks. Okay, and I ask you to search something for me on the Google. And say, for 14 weeks of learning and teaching, I taught them nothing. Can you believe that? I just give them the example, really difficult example, difficult exercise, difficult homework, and they are so worried about that, How can I finish that? In the first class, I said, I let you think about what you want to do at the end of the course in 14 weeks. And they give me some example, I say, oh, this is too easy. I can do it 1 week. You should give me more difficult than that, And my job is to encourage them, not to judge them. I encourage them. Give me harder example. The homework, the project. Give me the project that you think you can never do it in 14 weeks. I give them my sympathy. I encourage them a lot. They are almost crying. But I said, okay, give me really, really difficult project that you think you cannot do in 14 weeks. And I will help you to do it in 14 weeks. The first class is very important to encourage students. And right now, after 14 weeks, they all can finish their project that they think they cannot do in 14 weeks. So that's what I said. Your job is not telling them anymore. Your job is to initiate them, encourage them, help them to do their own study. Now, this is the flipped classroom, right? That's why I say, I never have any notes. I say, what you want to learn? From your project, you already have the project. It's a project-based learning. You have a project. Tell me what you want to learn. I will give you some example. I don't teach you. I give you some example. You do it on Google, anything, Facebook, whatever. They do it in 14 weeks. Second year student. Don't worry about the student. Okay.
That's a good idea to do so.
Only in a small classroom, no. For a bigger classroom, it's too difficult to do that. I have only 15 students.
All right, thank you. And I think you got some question as well.
Yeah, my name is Annette Severi from the German Embassy Cultural Attaché. Thank you very much for this interesting point of view. I'm not from the generation Y, I think, so please forgive me if I have a bit an old-fashioned view on that. I find it's very interesting to hear how you inspire, so to say, the people, your students, how you. It sounds a bit like a bet, like a challenge of what they could do, enhancing their knowledge. But how about the theory? How do you teach them to take a critical point of view of the information they get? How to get them familiar with the big knowledge-based theory and make sure that the level of knowledge is similar to everybody who is in your course? And what role could play the so-called smart boards in classroom, where I think teachers and lecturers do have more work. Sorry for saying that, but I've also to do with a lot of schools, and all the teachers who had these modern instruments, be it global schooling at Chiang Mai School, the German school in Chiang Mai, or be it with the introduction of new smart boards, a teacher will have to invest quite a lot of time. How to do edutainment, like you mentioned, how to become a master of edutainment, how to bring in little films, little, so to say, links, the right formula. Of course, there's software, but you have to learn how to use it. So I'm wondering, would you know what is the approach here in Thailand to this sort of smart board phenomenon? Thank you.
From me first? Okay. The judgment of the information that they have from the internet is really important also, right? I forget to mention that, my experience, I start using Google after my graduation in the PhD. So I learned about what happening before the Google, right? So I also I tell my students that, whatever you find from the internet, don't believe it. Don't believe it yet. But I let them try, making some errors. I know what they're going to make some error, but I want them to learn to make some errors. Then you should learn and judge what is believable and what is not a real information. You still need a book. I always say, don't use the internet as your only sources for information. You still need a textbook to learn, some thing from the textbook. But I don't ask you to read the whole textbook. I only ask you to read a section of the textbook that are related to the topic that you are interested from the internet. So they're not just about the information from the internet, they're also about the textbook. And then from the textbook, they find out the theory by themselves, right? The theory is already inside the textbook. So they are the linkage between, electronic books, the e-books. I give them some e-book also, the e-books, the internet, and my recommendation or comment from the classroom. These are three components to make it a successful, like a flipped classroom like that in my class. Thank you.
You are right that the new generation of students like to be challenged. So that's also our role, new roles, that we have to challenge them to the new difficulties. I'm not worried too much about the technological side and all the special effects, because they will find a way to do it for themselves. But for us, I think not only keep challenging them, but also playing roles like a coach or some mentor that could point them towards some directions. After they complete their assignments, then we keep asking, what come out of that work? What have you learned? And try to bring them the step further. And then that would come to the point that you were asking about theoretical foundations. And somehow all along they would come into contact with other theories and concepts.
I think there's a very clear divide between knowledge and skill. And I think a lot of times it's easier in a university setting to teach about knowledge, but it's a lot like teaching rules about chess or some of the heuristics of chess where you try to catch the center, and it really doesn't fit when you actually start playing chess. And I think it's much more important for teachers to start teaching in context, because real life is so complex you can't really abstract something to some generic term where you're trying to explain to the students how to work. You really need to get back into real life and try to apply just a simple theory and show them how it fits into actual life. I think with mobile devices and e-devices, you have a better chance of trying to get down to the nitty-gritty level like this. Otherwise, you're talking to an audience like this, talking in generic terms where they're listening, but I don't know if they actually can take it or apply it. If you're actually going through a theory and showing them how it connects to their life or how it connects to solving a problem. I've been teaching information literacy. I can get up and give a test to students. They fail it horribly, and then they take a computer class and they do much better with it, but that doesn't mean that they actually know how to search the internet. And that actually just takes a lot of time and skill and some criticism, and to tell them how to do it a little bit better and such. So for my own thinking, it's kind of maybe a little bit different way of thinking versus teaching more abstract. It's better to take it into the real world and actually show them how to apply it.
So I know we run out of time now, but I have the personal questions. Want to ask Mr. Brian about the Line apps. Did you have answer yet? Yeah, why is Line apps in Thailand is so popular, and why iPhone is not is the second language in Thailand? I'm curious. I would like to know.
The government can't read that line.
Okay, so thank you very much. Yeah.
Okay, just a very last question. I've known we've run out of time already, but before we end, I would like to know when you would recommend e-learning to begin. I mean, Ajahn Ponsak has mentioned his little daughter who is now 5 years old and starting to use it very much. I also have a little daughter who's now 2 years old and already knows how to use an iPad, and I'm a bit worried about that. I'm worried, is that too early? Should she start later on? And then at what time should she start? And then also connected to this question, how should we start about it? We talked a lot about that students who are already interested in using Line, in using Facebook, in using mobile devices for other purposes, should also use them for learning. So is that the way to do it, that they're already using it and we're just bringing them to use it for something else? Or shall we teach them to use it for learning in the first place before they even know how to use it. Thank you.
My opinion is about the children learning because of the technologies make it too easy to learn. Right? It's touch screen, they can use their fingers, they can use your hand movement to control something. So this is something called a natural interface. It's come from your body. So the learning become more and much easier than before. So what my comment is to the children learning is, with my daughter, I always tell her before using it, what is the purpose of using it. Don't let she find their own way of using it. So I give them some purpose. For example, like playing a game, you have to catch something for me. Give them their target. Of the learning, and they will find a way to get to the target by their own learning. That's a good experience. Don't just give them the mobile device, the game and the computer, and say, okay, they use it. No, you have to give them and some kind of give them some target of the learning. Even the game can be a learning method for the children.
The research I've been doing, at least at the university level, it's like, you remember the old saying about, oh, why are you reading all these junk books? You should be reading good literature. But if somebody's reading, they're doing better. It's the same way with computer. An active student that uses the computer and looks up, plays Facebook all the time, will tend to be the better student that actually knows what's going on in the environment. And there is a type of student that just sits there and just does nothing. And I've seen a very clear segment in Thai where it's a third of a student that just doesn't interact, doesn't do anything, and those are the D and C students. The ones that are the brighter, more active, tend to be B+ because they fight.
So maybe for the last comment, I think, because it's time for dinner. Maybe for the last comment, please. This girl, yes. Yeah, no problem, no problem. We still have time, please.
We're not hungry yet.
Yeah, so sorry, but
no problem, no problem.
Thank you for the time.
Yes.
Because I also a mother of a 5-year-old son and also 10th month, and I read it from the internet about the research of all these, and also from the German doctor, and they said about this issue that the age limit is very important for the technologies to the son. Especially in United States, they also enforce a law that the 2 years old or lower the age before 2 years old never touch to the technology device, because they gonna give them about the problem about their eyes, a problem about their brain development, and also before 6 years old, they learn by touching. They stage development from 2D to 3Ds. So if you give them the technology with 2 dimensions, so they never learn about 3 dimensions. And you have to let them learn by eating it, because you will see that the children like to eat everything. They learn by tongue, by hand touching. So that's going to be awareness, one thing. So I also believe that the technology is good, but the age limitation is like a movie. You have to let them with age limits. So 2 years, 6 years, and also the teenagers. That right now, I also aware by myself, because of my students have problem of the data consuming, time consuming about technologies, and for the great sentence that because of technology they can learn everywhere, they can learn anywhere, any place. But for them, they said, oh, that's a very threat, because I have to learn all the time, and where is the time for rest? So for me, I think it's very important to have a policy about that also in Thailand.
May I ask how many hours you let your child play the tablet?
For my son,
Yes.
never.
Okay, never.
And also the school say that they have like a computer hours, and I believe that they do not need that computer hours during the kindergarten.
Okay.
May I ask, what's your limit on using?
6 years.
I like my wife because she always playing Facebook. Then she tells us, don't do that.
All right, I think no more questions right now, right? Let me finish this session now. And could you give them a big hand for the great job today? And also you.
So, and so, on the other hand, Dr. Johannes also have the token that would like to give to the president. Okay, okay, yes. So, and yeah, please invite the keynote speaker, please. And also, okay. Yes. Okay, Dr. Johannes also have the token for the keynote speaker. Please, maybe start with. Dr. Johannes would like to give the token to the speakers. Yes. Okay, and Dr. Aswin, please. And of course, Mr. Brian. Okay, now it's time to make a group photo. Then I would like. Okay, yes, sorry. So maybe the last token. Okay, so then it's time for the group photo. I would like to invite